So today's topics, what are we going to cover? How are we going to go over today? What are we going to go over today? Today we're going to talk about a little bit about split testing. We've created a couple specific examples here that we're going to demonstrate for you to show you some specific points in data. Now, the background for this is what Pinpoint's done is an email provider. We've taken a slice of data of I don't know, somewhere in the range of a couple thousand or tens of thousands of email campaigns and hundreds of millions of emails. We've taken a slice of data here for the last several months and done a lot of analysis and so forth. But what we've done for today's presentation is distill down some very specific split testing case study examples that demonstrate our data in a larger set, if you will. So what we're going to compare today is some pretty important questions we get on a very regular basis from our customers. But one would be the send from address, which is better, sending from a company or from a person for business to business. The second is comparing information on subject lines. The third is the use of special offers. And the fourth is behavioral targeting. And we'll throw in some other tips along the way as we go, but we narrowed down some split tests specifically to demonstrate these four areas, and we'll present the data today. Our methodology for the split testing is we use the Pinpoint split testing tool. The sample sizes for all these, unless they're designated otherwise, are between 10 and 50,000 email sends per variation, and we used a random sampling for each one. So these are samplings out of our database, out of the Pinpoint contact database, and our split test feature. And where possible or unless otherwise noted, we would vary a single variable or single option. In some cases, we did multiple variations, and that's identified in the particular test. Okay, so the first one, the send from. So one question that comes up an awful lot from our customers is, does the send from address, how does the send from address impact results? Are you better to send the email from your company name or from a person's name? So we tried 3 different variations here to give you some data. Now, I should qualify again, our data is primarily for business-to-business customers. Most of the time, business-to-business, business-to-consumer is very similar. But in some areas, and I'll try to point them out along the way as it's available, in some areas you'll find B2B and B2C being notably different. When we look at business-to-business information or business-to-business cases, which is, again, where our focus of our data is here, I think you'll see something different than what you would see in B2C. It's kind of surprising results. But anyway, what we did is we tried the first variation being info@pinpoint.com, and the actual text was Pinpoint webinars. So if you look in your inbox, what you would see would be typically Pinpoint webinars, the actual text that's displayed, and the send from email address was info@pinpoint.com. The second was yours truly, Craig.Stouffer@pinpoint.com, and the text being my name, Craig Stouffer. And the third, we tried one of our folks here, Carol Cohen@pinpoint.com, with the text, of course, being Carol Cohen. Now, one thing that comes up here is I pretty much always get somebody that points out, well, Carol can be a man's name too, but I think for most purposes, most people, Carol is typically a woman's name, but we'll compare the testing results here. The sample sets in these examples were on the smaller side of our test. They were typically 10,000 active B2B contacts. And when we did the sending, we sent for these tests on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. This particular test, they were all sent, the 3 different variations were sent at the same time on a Tuesday morning. So if you look at the results here, the summary information, we're looking at both opens and clicks. And some interesting information. Clicks are probably more, in our perspective, more indicative because somebody can open an email and then immediately hit the delete key. What you really are more interested in as a marketer is what's the engagement level. And the click tracking is something that's more indicative of the level of engagement with your prospect. So we've collected both sets of information here. This is a screenshot from our split testing, but you can see looking at both opens and clicks. So if you see the 3 different bars there, the first one being info at, the second being Craig Stouffer at Pinpoint, and the third, of course, being Carol Cohen. So what we see is, by going from company name to individual person, we roughly or exactly doubled the numbers with respect to clicks. The opens were up substantially also, but pretty big difference. And then when we had I guess it's a combination of being a typically female name and also perhaps slightly more common name, either way, what we saw is an even greater uplift. So you can see here pretty big difference in the results. So in this perhaps somewhat contrived case study or smaller case study, we see a big difference in summary of using a personal name versus the business name. And that's So this is actually very consistent with what we see across when we did the broader scale analysis of a few hundred million emails across our customer base. We see that very consistently in the business-to-business environment, sending from an individual's name at the company, or somebody that basically the person that your recipients would expect to, or the name that the recipients would expect to hear from, is what generates the best results. So in my summary table, you can see here, if I use the company name or info@pinpoint.com as my baseline, by going to using my individual name, we said we had a 22% increase in opens and exactly doubled the clicks. Version 3, when we used Carol Cohen, we actually had a 38% uplift and 142% increase in clicks. So pretty substantial difference. Now again, this is maybe slightly more extended or enhanced than what we see across our customer base as percentages in clicks, but you very consistently see an uplift for B2B when you use the name, sent from name being an individual. Now B2C may be very different. Clearly, I don't know about you, but if I got an email from Steve Jobs, I know I'm going to open it, right? If I really think it's from Steve Jobs. But other than that, in many companies in B2C, the name of the company obviously is different level of branding and so forth. And so in B2C environment, and if you look at results and analysis from business to consumer type of emails, I think you may actually see just the opposite. But the takeaway for you is you should communicate primarily by using the send from information should be who your recipient is most likely to expect to communicate from. And the other piece of takeaway here is test. You have a tool, you have tools available, whether it be in Pinpoint or typically in other email products. Most of the reasonable email service providers have products that will allow you to, or features rather, that will allow you to do split testing. So the other takeaway again is just really test and see how it works best in your environment. Okay, case study number 2.